Good morning, students. Welcome to Sai CA Coaching Center, and this is CA MS Swaminathan with you. Students, in furtherance to what we have learned till now, let us move on with the next part of the syllabus in today's session. The concept relating to relevant costs. Okay, what exactly is a relevant cost? While I will come to this in a short while from now, with regard to the other type of decisions that we were referring to earlier as in the starting stage of our session today, which is something to do with the short-term decisions given in the chart in the very first page of your, on the first page of your chapter, which dealt with outsourcing decisions, sell or further processing, minimum pricing decision, keep or drop, and special order. And it is here that I mentioned to you the concept of relevant cost is absolutely critical. If you make a miss there, then it is a given thing that your solution is certainly going to be incorrect, and it requires actually a lot of practice initially to be able to identify what would be relevant in a particular given situation and why the same item will be considered as irrelevant in another situation when the situation is changed. So you have to pay a lot of attention to that concept. It's a very small concept but extremely important, which forms the basis for you to be able to solve virtually all the problems in the chapter. Okay. Now, what I want to highlight to you is in the chart on the first page of a chapter, down below you find another box which contains two items, ethics and non-financial considerations. Whenever management has to decide whether to drop a particular product line or to introduce a particular product line at a particular price, they have to take these decisions without ignoring non-financial considerations. In other words, non-financial considerations must certainly be kept in mind. For example, let me just give you an example as to why non-financial consideration is very important. Now, suppose you are staying in a place in the suburbs of a city by paying, let's say, 40,000 rupees of rent per month, and you feel that travel takes so much of time, therefore you would like to shift to the heart of the city closer to your office, and you rent out another place for the same 40,000 rupees per month, and you tell your friends you're extremely happy because you got a deal for the same 40,000 rupees. Now, the earlier place where you used to stay, for example, is owned by you. Now, what would happen is when you shift from your own house to the new place, your own house can be let out for rent at 40,000. You would now go to a new place in the heart of the city for 40,000. Effectively, you don't have any cash outflow because you are getting 40,000 from your tenant and you pay 40,000 to your landlord. Correct? So you don't have any cash outflow. Now, this is the financial aspect. Now, let's look at the non-financial aspect involved here. Earlier in your own house, your family was staying in a 3-bedroom apartment which was measuring approximately 1,500 square feet plus. Now, you have contracted to take a particular house on rent without actually having visited the place because it was referred to you by your friend, very close friend. Now, when you open the door and get in, you find that after having signed the contract and given the advance, the entire house measures only 500 square feet. Now, how would you feel? All those items that you have been storing in your house, which are spanning across 1,500 square feet, will now have to be dumped inside 500 square feet. Would it be reasonable to expect it can be done? Even if it can be done, or you decide to dump certain things, would you feel very happy to stay in a place which is just 1/3 the size of where you used to reside in the past? And this is absolutely non-financial in nature, but nevertheless should have been borne in mind by you when you take a decision. I am just giving you an example just to highlight the concept of non-financial. Here in decision making, largely it relates to, for example, quality of the product, maybe the quality of satisfaction to the customers, employee related aspects. For example, if you ask laborers to leave when you decide to shut down, what would be the impact on their families? What could be the impact on a brand? How would the customers view you? if you suddenly decide to stop supplying a particular product in the market, how would the market view you? For example, you decide to shut down you are operating a school, you decide to shut it down and now start a five-star hotel there. You were the only school in that locality. Now, what would be the fate of all the children who are growing up in that locality? They might have to now travel a long distance to get to another school. They would need admission in the other schools. So there is just not this financial impact. You just can't look at the fact a five-star hotel will fetch me more money, therefore let me shift to that business. What is going to happen to the other side of it? It's also to be borne in mind. So whenever such decisions are taken, non-financial considerations must not be ignored. Looking at another example, for example, if you have been an entity who is supplying some product, some automobile component within the country, and now you are being approached by a customer from abroad for the first time, do you supply? Now, well, the price that is being requested for by the customer is actually something which is non-lucrative, is not very profitable for you. Nevertheless, you might still decide to go ahead with the proposal, though financially it doesn't make any sense to you. But then, from a non financial perspective, you might take a call saying, I am at least able to gain a toehold in the export market, if I can be successful, I am actually good at satisfying my customer, then it can get converted into a foothold as well, and I might start eventually reaping the benefits of foreign exchange. So that's a non-financial aspect that can be considered. Sometimes a non-financial aspect can also imply not shutting down a particular plant and keeping it on. Why? Shutting down the plant would result in probably the machinery getting rusted. But then if you keep it in operational condition, at least the machine doesn't rust. Employees, skilled laborers would not be checked out. They would be retained by you. So these are certain aspects that you need to bear in mind when you do the analysis. Now, with this background, let us move into the relevant cost concept, which forms the most critical aspect of being able to solve virtually all types of problems in this chapter. You will have to apply differently probably in each particular question. Now, I am actually on page 11 of your study material, which is Jan 2019 edition of chapter 6. And if one were to look at it, the start of the page, the starting part itself says, for a cost to be relevant to a decision, it must be 1. A future cost, which means something to be incurred in the future. 2. A differential cost, i.e., its level must be different for each of the alternatives under consideration. Accordingly, only future cost can be relevant to decisions. However, to be relevant, a cost must not only be a future cost, but must also differ from one alternative to another. Extremely critical point. If a future cost is the same for more than one alternative, it has no effect on the decision. Very, very important. Such a cost is irrelevant. The ability to identify relevant and irrelevant cost is a vital decision-making skill, which is the crux of the entire discussion, the last sentence. And this is where you need to concentrate a lot. When I say so, what is it that I am implying? The ability to identify relevant and irrelevant cost is a vital decision-making skill. And if you fail here, your answer is certainly going to be incorrect. But if you have learned this art very well, then solving the problems in this chapter becomes hopefully a cakewalk, though the questions might be long-winded. Understood? Okay. Now, in the rest of the chapter, you might find there are lots of problems given. I might probably not be picking up each case as such, because my approach is going to be going forward, discuss just about this relevant cost, probably by citing some cases or examples to you to help you understand this better by analyzing it. And once you've understood this concept well, you just need to go and implant it there when you solve problems. Hopefully, you should be able to solve problems comfortably. Fine. Okay. Now, further to what we read about the relevant cost, it should be a future cost. Now, for example, let's take a case. Let us assume that at the moment you are in your house. You need to go to some place. Okay? If you have to reach that place, you need to get transported. If you have to get transported, you need to incur some expenditure. Underline, you need to incur some expenditure, which means it is futuristic. Now, first question, is this something which is futuristic in nature? Certainly yes. Now, should this be considered as a relevant factor to decide whether I should go ahead with the activity of moving from place 1 to place 2? Because when I move from place 1 to place 2, by incurring some expenditure, I must also look at the incremental benefit and see whether ultimately there is a benefit to me. The next point. For me to travel from point 1 to point 2 or point A to point B, for example, is going to cost me 5 rupees. Okay, which of course we would say is a relevant cost because it is future related. It is to be incurred. Very good. Now, the second point over there mentioned that it must be a differential cost, meaning for different alternatives it must differ. Okay. Now, whether you want to go from point A to point B to watch a movie or to buy vegetables, whichever way. So alternative one, you want to watch a movie. Alternative two, you want to go and procure vegetables. Whatever be the option you choose, well, you have to move from point A to point B, for which you have to incur 5 rupees only. Now, based on the first limb of the definition, we concluded that 5 rupees is relevant from a decision making perspective because it is to be incurred. It is not something which has already been incurred. Because what has already been incurred is a historical cost or a sunk cost. And whatever has already been incurred basically is irrelevant now from a decision that I have to take at the moment. Correct? As an example again, you write your first examination, come back. For example, if the examination that you have written, paper 1, has not been satisfactory to your comfort zone, is there any point trying to brood over or lament over the mistakes you've committed without starting to prepare for the next paper? It is totally useless. Correct? Good for nothing activity. The best thing that you can do is just ignore what has happened in the previous paper and try to make it up in the preparation for the next examination. Is this not what you do? Exactly the same way we say that those activities or costs that have already been incurred in the past cannot be unbound, and therefore it is completely irrelevant from a decision making perspective. Don't even bother to look at it. But of course, you will have to write a note when you solve. This is irrelevant. Well, one very important point, note for the students, when you solve problems in professional exams and that too at the final level, it's very critical for you to mention the rationale as to why you are picking up a particular item, why you are leaving out a particular item while you prepare your solution. This applies to all the subjects. Please bear that in mind. Now, while we've understood the sunk cost and historical cost, coming back to the relevant cost, the 5 rupee which we thought is relevant to start with. Now, when we look at the second limb of the definition, which states it must be a differential cost, meaning it must vary between two different or three different alternatives. Now, in our case, alternative one was watching the movie, for which we had to spend 5 rupees to get transported. Alternative 2, to procure vegetables, for which also we need to spend the same 5. Now in alternative 1 or alternative 2, the amount of expenditure for the same activity remains the same. Is it differential? No, the difference is 0. Then why would I ever want to consider this when I have to decide, should I go and watch a movie or should I buy vegetables? This becomes absolutely irrelevant, though futuristic in nature. Understood? Whereas, suppose I have to travel by paying 5 rupees to watch a movie whereas I will have to pay 6 rupees to go and procure vegetables, then we say the 5 and the 6 become relevant, i.e., in other words, we would say I have to spend 1 rupee extra if I have to procure vegetables vis-a-vis watching a movie in the theater. Is that point very clear to you? So relevant cost is to be understood from that perspective. Whatever is a historical cost, another example for historical cost, you are looking at, let's assume, replacing your machinery. Now, whatever machinery you have purchased 5 years ago for probably 20 lakhs, the book value today is just 1 lakh, which you are wanting to replace by purchasing something which will be a more sophisticated machinery. Now, the question arises, should you go ahead and buy machine 1 or machine 2 to replace the earlier machine? Now, look at the fact that whatever you have spent in the past to buy the original machine for 25 lakhs or whatever be it, is it now relevant? That cost has already been incurred by you 5 years ago. What significance or relevance has it got in helping you decide today as to whether you should buy machine 1 or machine 2 to replace the earlier machine? It has got no connectivity whatsoever to the current decision, and therefore we write a note saying the original cost is totally useless. It does not affect our current cash flow position. Now, is that all? Is there nothing else which we can possibly consider with regard to the old equipment as relevant? Just think about it for a second. Well, in today's session, when I actually grant you such time, the intention is for you to just start thinking, probably to tease your mind. So just pause the audio session at this moment. In future, you might find such kind of questioning, probably, if the situation arises. Kindly pause it then and there. Just try to answer it mentally and then release the pause and move on. Hopefully, you might get the answer shortly thereafter. And the question to you was, is there nothing else which could be considered as relevant? Of course, there could be something which can be considered as very much relevant from a replacement decision perspective. What could that be? The new machine 1 costs, for example, 40 lakhs. The new machine 2 costs 45 lakhs. Should I go ahead for machine 1 or machine 2? It's a different question. But then, though my original machine, the old machine which cost me 25 lakhs is not considered now as relevant, but then if the old machine can be scrapped today and it fetches a residual value of probably 29,000, is that not a cash inflow? Certainly yes. Now, should this be considered? Would this affect my current decision making capacity? To start with, certainly yes. Why? I get an inflow of 29,000. It will reduce my outflow of cash towards purchasing the new machine. Correct? So, is this relevant now? Pause again the file and think about it. To continue, machine 1 was supposed to cost you 40 lakhs, but then the old machine can be scrapped for 29,000, so it will cost you lesser by 29,000. Machine 2 would have costed you 45 lakhs, but now the old machine fetches you 29,000. Therefore, the new machine will cost you, machine 2, for a net of 29,000 from the 45 lakhs, right? So to start with, the scrap value indeed is relevant, but as I mentioned at the start, depending on the case that is being presented to you, the same item can be argued as relevant in one case, irrelevant in another case. To start with, when we discussed about the 29,000, it becomes relevant. Now, when would it be relevant? It would be relevant only if we were trying to analyze about replacing the old machine just with one machine by considering the possibility of only either machine 1 or machine 2. I repeat, the question does not tell you that you have the option of buying either machine 1 or machine 2. It only states that the old machine can be replaced with machine 1. Or the question states that the old machine can be replaced only with machine 2. the other machine is not brought into the question itself. In such a case, the 29,000 is relevant. Whereas, when the question states that the old machine could be replaced either by machine 1 or by machine 2, both of them given in the same question, then the same 29,000 scrap value of the old machine becomes irrelevant. Why? In both the alternatives, the value of scrap remains the same. You will get the same cash flow, 29,000 in alternative 1 for machine 1, for machine 2 as well. Therefore, for something to be considered as relevant in our decision making, it must be one, futuristic, and two, differential in nature. Here, though it is futuristic, it is not differential. It is the same 29,000 under both the alternatives, and therefore, I rewind a little. In the earlier example I cited, where the question contained that this old machine can be replaced only with machine 1, machine 2 is not ever mentioned in the question itself. In that scenario, we will certainly include 29,000 by way of subtracting it from the cash outflow because it is relevant to our decision making exercise. Whereas now in the revised scenario, where the question, I repeat, presents the old machine can be replaced either by machine 1 or by machine 2, please advise what is to be done. In that instance, it cannot be considered as relevant because the cash flow remains the same. But then let's take another weird example. Assuming that the question states that if you go ahead with machine 1 as a replacement, the old machine will be exchanged for 29,000, whereas if you go ahead with machine 2, the old machine will be exchanged for 39,000. Now there is a differential impact. Would it be considered as something which impacts the decision making? Certainly, yes, it has a relevance. This is what I'm trying to tell the students, that to you all, the same item, depending on the permutation of the question, of the situation given in the question, it may assume the characteristic of being either relevant or irrelevant. Now, this forms the crux of the decision making exercise, which is what I emphasized when we read the para. There, I repeat, the ability to identify relevant and irrelevant cost is a vital decision making skill. You must, at home as well, when you do your study, try to build your own case and trying to fit different scenarios to try and see when would this particular item be relevant, when would something be considered as irrelevant. The more and more you practice that by questioning, presenting questions to your colleagues as well, it helps you a lot. Once you are very clear with this concept, then solving the problems in this chapter becomes largely easy.